Have you ever wondered if there's a secret to what makes a great story tick? What if it wasn't some crazy, complicated plot, but a simple shape? Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden blueprint that so many amazing stories use. It's this powerful structure that, believe it or not, all starts with mapping out your characters.
Now, I know it sounds a little out there, right? A geometric formula for storytelling? But stick with me here because this is the key. This simple shape is what creates character dynamics that feel so real, so compelling, and it gives your plot this unstoppable momentum that just pulls you right through to the end.
All right, so where do we even begin with this? Well, here's the thing. Before you write a single word of dialogue, before you even picture that first scene in your head, the most important thing you can do as a writer is map out the relationships between your characters. Seriously, this is the foundation, the absolute bedrock your entire story is built on.
And this map, this character relationship map, it is hands down one of the most critical things you have to figure out before you even think about starting a first draft. I'm not kidding. Getting this right from the get-go is going to save you so many headaches later on. It just makes sure your story has a solid core to it.
So, what does this map even look like? Well, the core structure is, you're going to love this, it's surprisingly simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It's an inverted triangle.
Okay, so let's break this triangle down. Every great story really needs these three core pillars. At one corner, you've got your hero, right? The protagonist. Then, at the opposite corner, you've got the force that's standing in their way. Of course, that's your antagonist. And then, holding it all together at that bottom point is this pivotal third character. This is the person who really complicates the main conflict because they're tied to both sides. And together, these three, they form the engine of the story.
So you see, these three characters, they create this really stable, but also super dynamic structure that the whole story rests on. They are completely locked together, and it's their interactions, how they push and pull on each other, that's going to drive everything forward.
Okay, but how does a static shape, just a triangle, become the engine for the whole plot? Well, it's not just about who these characters are, it's all about the invisible lines of influence that connect them.
Between these 3 points, there are exactly six critical lines of influence. You can almost picture them like arrows, pointing back and forth between each of the characters.
And here's the really cool part. These are not one-way streets. This represents a constant, mutual influence. You know, the protagonist affects the antagonist and bam, the antagonist pushes right back. The third character influences them both and is totally influenced in return. It's this perfect, closed, dynamic system. It's been described as something like a giant gear that makes the story roll, and that's exactly what it feels like. Once you set these relationships in motion, the story pretty much starts to power itself. It just gains this incredible, unstoppable momentum. I know, this might all feel a little bit abstract, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to apply this theory to a classic movie that honestly executes it perfectly. David Fincher's 1995 thriller, Seven.
All right, let's map out the characters from Seven. Our protagonist, that's the world-weary veteran detective Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman. The antagonist is, of course, the terrifying serial killer John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey. And that crucial third character, the one caught in the middle, that's the hot-headed rookie detective Mills, played by Brad Pitt.
And just like that, there it is. The triangle is complete. You have Somerset, Mills, and John Doe, and they are totally locked into this structure. Each one is constantly pushing and pulling on the others, and that's what drives the dark, gripping, and unforgettable story of the film. But, wait a minute, we're not done yet. Once this structure is firmly in place, something really fascinating reveals itself. There's another layer to this blueprint, a character who's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
Yeah, that three-character model isn't the whole picture. If you look closely, right inside that triangle, you can suddenly see someone else. Someone standing right there in the middle of it all.
This is the secret linchpin of the entire story. The fourth character. They exist at the very center of that triangle, and they have an intimate, critical connection to all 3 points, to the protagonist, the antagonist, and the third character. So, who is it in Seven? Who is this hidden fourth character, the true heart of the story? It's Tracy Mills, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, Detective Mills' wife. And just look at how perfectly she fits right in the middle. She's connected to her husband, Mills, obviously. She's connected to Somerset,
who becomes her confidant, the only one she tells her secret to, and then tragically, she becomes the final, devastating connection to the antagonist, John Doe. She is the absolute central hub that holds this whole dark story together.
And this is the crucial point, the ultimate takeaway here. The fourth character isn't just some extra part. She is the emotional core of the film. When you identify this central figure, you reveal the true stakes. You find the very heart of your story's conflict. It's what everything is really about.
So that leaves us with one last really important question for you to think about. Whether you're a writer working on your own story or you're just rewatching your favorite film, I want you to ask yourself this. Once you've found the triangle, who is that hidden character standing right at the center? Because I guarantee you, that's where you'll find the real story.